Hi, I'm Wes Allen with DM Tales, and today I'm going to be talking about my first in-person session as a GM. Let's roll it. Now, as you might have gathered if you watch this channel, I enjoy exploring a whole slew of systems and different games. It's part of my enjoyment of this TTRPG hobby space. And when I want to run a game, it's usually because there's a system that comes up that I really want to try out and see how it works in person. And that's what's happened with this Castles and Crusades campaign. I got the books over the winter because people were recommending it on different groups that I was in, and I got them myself, and I really like the system. You can see my review of it. That's what I did last week. And I wanted to see how this worked in person at the table. Problem was, I was already running two other weekly campaigns, a 5e campaign on Monday nights and a basic fantasy RPG campaign on Thursday nights, and so I compromised with myself and decided we would do this monthly. Last night was our first actual session of play, and we gathered 8 people around a table, 9 including me, and we sat down and opened up our campaign. Let me have the players introduce themselves.
I'm Pete, and I'll be playing Seeker Octavian.
And who is Seeker Octavian?
He is an illusionist, a human from the town of Silent.
Very good. And how many RPGs have you played before this?
This will be my second. I played Basic Fantasy before this.
Okay. Looking forward to rolling dice?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
My name's Larry, and I am playing Sir Isaac of Salaf.
Give your class if you want.
He's a knight.
Very cool. And what have you played before?
I have played Basic Fantasy, actually with Pete, and with you.
And with me. And you played back in the day, right?
I played back when I was a kid. I played Basic. I played, I guess, D&D, the first edition.
My name's Stefan. I'm playing Kronk, the half-orc, who's a fighter.
And this is your first time playing a game, right?
Yes, my wife says I need to get out and meet new friends and make new friends, so I figured I'd go full nerd and do this.
Okay, very good.
Hi, I'm Josh.
And who are you playing?
I am playing Arno Gallowglass, a halfling druid. I'm very excited. So this is my second in-person game since I was 15.
That's cool. What else have you played before?
Dungeons and Dragons. When I was a teenager, I played the basic edition, and then I got back into 5e during the pandemic.
My name's Josh.
Who are you playing?
Zildjian Avidus.
Who?
Zildjian Avidus.
Well, that's new.
Yeah.
Okay, we've changed the name.
Oh.
From the
That's what I sent you.
I don't know. I'll let you. You're still bald head, brown beard on the thing.
Well, that's my nickname.
That's okay. What are you playing?
A human monk.
Very good. And what else have you played before?
One game of D&D 4th edition.
5th edition.
5th edition. Another game of Basic Fantasy.
Very good. Excited?
Oh yeah.
You got your dice?
No, I'm gonna.
Oh,
My name is Mark. I'm playing Sonia, a female human paladin.
very good. And what have you played before?
I guess I played D&D 1st edition and probably 4th edition.
Okay. And what else are you playing now?
I'm playing... I don't know what
Basic.
I'm playing. Basic now. I guess I play
Basic fantasy RPG. It's very nice to know my players who find that table.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I'm playing Jeremy Ormond.
Okay, very good. You don't want to give any more away than that. That's nice. And what have you played before?
D&D 5e.
Okay, you never played. You played in person though, right?
Yeah, that was in person.
Okay, cool. So this is an in-person game for you. You can teach everybody the ropes.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, and I'm playing Blade Bladerson.
And what games have you played before?
I played one a while back. I substituted for somebody.
And but this is your first time playing your own character.
Yeah.
And what are you most looking forward to at the table?
Wreaking havoc and stealing some objects.
I was really excited to play this game, and I wanted to do a good amount of video of different moments when we were playing together. And what I found out when you're playing as the GM in an in-person table, you don't have time to do any of that stuff. I really just should have had my Mevo up over my shoulder and had my snowball mic in the middle of the table and just had that recording constantly, and I could have just edited out bits. But instead I decided that I wanted to take out my camera and my more decent shotgun mic and let people talk directly to the camera, and so I've gotten just a little bit of footage from it. Now, this was a game where we only had really an introductory session. The PCs all came together. They got their mission from a broker who was acting as an agent for a town looking for some adventurers to investigate some stolen and killed animals. And so we're just really kind of getting the table to interact together and getting the players to learn how they're going to play off of one another. That was the majority of the game. So we didn't have a whole lot of roles, but we did have this one. And let me set it up for you. Arno Gallo, alas, is how I think he pronounces his last name, is a druid halfling, or a halfling druid, who is very much all about the nature. And Arno is an interesting character because he's got a very big heart, but he has a charisma of 9. So he's not the best at proclaiming his views and getting people to believe them. And also, if you watched my review of Castles and Crusades last week, you know the difference between a primary attribute and a secondary attribute. Primary attribute, you have a base 12 for all of your checks, and in a secondary attribute, you have an 18. So if there's a refresher course for you. And Arno does not have charisma as one of his primary attributes. So anytime he's trying to do something charismatic, especially at his early levels, he's really at a disadvantage. Well, he was feeling a little bit miffed at the state of the inn where people were staying. And the band got up to play, and he decided he was going to treat everyone to a dance. Now, he's got a very high dexterity, and you would think, yes, that's what you need to dance. Make a dexterity check. But I ruled at the time, and the GMs are allowed to make rulings, I ruled at the time that, moving is one thing, but dancing to the extent that people will stop and watch you and be intrigued by what you are doing and not instantly bored or worse, annoyed, that's charisma. So he has to make a charisma save, and this is what happened.
First roll.
13 minus 1, 12.
And that is a huge fail. Very good. So yeah, people did not respond to Arno all that well. Things began to get thrown at him. The paladin, who was a lovely, lovely woman, she decided to get in front and try to defend her new compatriot. Whoa, just be nice. And people were telling them to get off the stage because they were interrupting their reverie. They wanted to get out and dance, and this little halfling was keeping them from doing it. And worse, he kind of danced like Elaine in Seinfeld, and that was really kind of ticking them off. So that was literally the first roll of the campaign, a fail and a charisma check that had a bunch of food and rotten vegetables thrown at one of the PCs. This is going to be a fun campaign. So the way that I have the game set up is I'm running behind a GM screen. I have my MacBook there that runs the virtual tabletop for encounters, and I keep my monster stats and things like the spells that the players and the different creatures are going to be using at any given time. And when we have an encounter, I'll put the map out on a different screen that is being streamed via a different computer, so I'm not blowing my fan up, and that's all people hear at the table. Worked okay. It was a little slow last night getting updates on the screen, and I think I know why. It's because it was connected to the church's Wi-Fi, and we were playing in my living room or dining room. So I'm going to try it out and see if it works any better. One of my players has a 32-inch screen TV, and we're thinking about just sticking that in the middle of the table lying down, and we'll use that for the virtual tabletop. So we'll see what happens about that. There is one thing that I really have come to appreciate about GMing an in-person role-playing game, even after one session, and that's body language. When I am running a game online, which I love to do. It's a lot of fun, and the fact that I can read books to my son and then come down and set up a game with not having to drive anywhere is really a plus. But when I'm doing that online, I have to describe body language. They sigh, they reach out their hand, their brow wrinkles. Here, when I'm doing it in person, I can just look at the character who's talking to the NPC and perform that act. I don't have to necessarily describe it. These are little nuances and interactions that I really haven't had at the virtual tabletop that I already think I'm going to love. So that was really cool. We ended up playing from 6:30 in the evening until about 9 o'clock. I had some folks that needed to have a hard stop time at 9 for that night. Hopefully we'll be able to push it to 9:30 and go a full 3 hours in future sessions. And we stopped right as they were about to get into a combat situation or a potential combat situation with some creatures who shall not be named because people from the table actually watch the channel, and I don't want to give that away. We'll be playing again in, I can't believe this, but it'll be 4 weeks from now. We'll pick up from where we left off. It was a great first session, and I'm really happy with the way that it went. So I'm going to work on my next review. It'll probably take me a couple weeks to get through. I've read the book once. I want to reread it again, but I have gotten Low Fantasy Gaming in the mail from Pickpocket Press. I really want to give it its just due as a different take on fantasy role-playing. It is the predecessor game to Low Life 2090, which I reviewed a couple weeks ago. So until we see each other again, happy playing, everyone.